Welcome, beautiful soul. I'm so grateful to share this space with you. This is more than a masterclass. This is a portal. This is a return to your wisdom, your power, and your truth. And if you've ever felt the pull to, want to do it all and also want to do it differently, then you're in the right place. I'm just going to share my screen with you and we will begin. Today, we're going to talk about leadership harmony. This isn't just a concept, but this is a lived experience that is going to change how you show up. It's going to change how you lead, and it's going to change how you receive. Maybe you're here because you're ready to build a career or build a business that aligns with your soul. Maybe you want to call in deeper relationships or have that authentic connection. And maybe you want to just increase your prosperity, without burning out or feeling exhausted or overwhelmed. Maybe you want more joy, more ease, more space in your day-to-day life. This conversation, it's not about information. It's about transformation. I'm going to walk you through the framework that I've used to build everything I have from a grounded and sacred space: my business, my motherhood, my voice, and my wealth. We're going to keep it super simple. You're going to receive exactly what you need today. You're going to get a few truth drops. We're going to do a couple of practices. And, this is a space for you to remember what's always been within you. Okay, this is a safe space. There's no right or wrong way to participate. You can comment, you can listen and observe, you can ask questions. But what I'm going to invite you to do first is to just take a few deep breaths and just ground yourself in here with our time together today before we begin. So I'd love for you to just make sure your feet are firmly planted on the ground. This is going to help us let go of the energetic and the physical noise that's all around us. And it's going to allow you to open to receive. Okay. So we'll just take a couple of deep breaths in through our nose and out through our mouth, and then we're going to begin. Then you can put your hand on your tummy if you want, one hand on your heart and one hand on your tummy. And just blow out all the busyness and all the noise, okay? So how important is balance in your life and in your career? I would love for you to share. Is it super important? Is it like, meh, I'm not sure, you're somewhere in the middle? Every answer is correct. So 15 years ago, my goodness, I have something in my eye. 15 years ago, I got the tattoo "Live with Intent" on my back. And, at the time I was going through a lot and I needed some inspiration. Who would have thought that 30-year-old Amy, who was working in corporate, is going to be running her own business 15 years later called Live with Intent? Intention is a very important part of who I am. It helps me stay aligned in my purpose, and it helps me connect with you doing what I love, which I'm super, super grateful for. So I always set a personal intention with my audience when I speak with you that I would love for you to do the same, to set your intention for our time here together today. So feel free to share, feel free to hold it in your heart, whatever works for you. But please go ahead and set your intention for our time here together. So do you experience hustle, overwhelm, burnout, doubt, decision paralysis, fear of failure, jealousy? Are you unable to achieve your goals? Are you doing too much? Do you never have enough time to do the things that you want? Would you like to learn how to reduce your stress, increase your confidence, and achieve your results in half the time while feeling twice as good? Today, you're going to learn how to do just that. Okay. I'm going to teach you why self-trust is the key to your success. What does energy have to do with relationships? How to do less and receive more, specifically through the harmonious relationship between masculine and feminine energy. And finally, we're going to learn how to live with intention so that you can call in your dream life today. So my name is Amy Jones. I'm 47. I'm a single mom. I've got 3 amazing kids. I'm a business owner. I'm an entrepreneur. And I'm the founder of Live with Intent, which is a mind, body, soul wellness company. My mission is connecting women and creating liberated empires. So before, on paper, my life checked all the boxes. I had the 20-year career in corporate business. I was engaged. I had some young children. I had the nice house, the fancy cars. And in 2017, after the birth of our second child, my world came crashing down. I experienced some major relationship roadblocks, and I wasn't strong enough to lead myself. So I searched for help. I connected with an incredible woman. She introduced me to energy healing, and in an instant, my life changed. I remember thinking, why have I not known that this whole world existed? Where have you been my whole life? And the more that I learned about masculine and feminine energy, and then ultimately surrendering my trust fully into God as He is really the ultimate leader, the wealthier my life became daily. My new foundational framework, which I call leadership harmony, has helped me permanently heal my lack of trust, my fear of abandonment, my poor self-worth. And it has helped me leave the career that had me burnt out working 100 hours a week, end the unhealthy relationship, launch a new business last year in which I was awarded #1 rookie in the company, and I've made more money in the last 3 months than in all of my 3 years combined. I did this all while taking my kids to and from school, working about 4 hours a day, deeply enjoying the wealthy life that I had created. So whether you're young or you're old, or you're a man or you're a woman, or you're just starting out as a seasoned veteran, most people are one decision away from a life-changing reality. This framework works, and this is what I'm going to teach you today. So before we continue, I just want you to pause and think about one thing that you are super proud of. That, feel free to drop it in the comments. Feel free to just, oh, I remember that. Or, yeah, I'm damn proud of that. I'd love for you to share something that you're really proud of, because it's super important that you're seen and you're heard and you're celebrated, because we don't do nearly enough of this in today's society. So please feel free to share that. And I'm definitely going to go back and read the comments. So why do we start with trust? When you don't feel safe to trust, you're going to control more. You're going to hold more because your body's going to tighten. You're going to do more. Okay. Your sole purpose in life is to just enjoy it. And I've actually rewritten the way that I write the word enjoy, and I write it as in dash joy, which I love. So self-trust helps you feel safe and secure in the world. Okay. It's going to give you the ability to receive in abundance without any attachment or dependencies to people, places, or things that are limiting your freedom to be in joy. So trust is the very first stage of psychosocial development. We learn it before the age of 2. I mean, we're actually learning this as we're growing inside of our mother's wombs, okay? So a secure child is going to have a higher level of self-trust. We're human. We've all got stuff we're going on. Nobody's perfect, okay? And we were all, taught a varying degree of trust. And when you don't have this foundation of trust, you have this false sense of safety, because essentially you're outsourcing your leadership. So I'm going to give you a little reflection exercise to think about. I want you to think about how you were raised. What did you learn as a child? Maybe what did your parents teach you? What did your parents learn? What did your grandparents learn? What did your grandparents teach you? What was going on globally during your generation when you were really, really young? What was going on when your parents were growing up, when your grandparents? And all of this ripple of impact impacts your foundational level of self-trust. Maybe your childhood sounded something like this. Your opinions don't matter. Do as you're told. Don't talk back to me. Finish your dinner. No dessert until your dinner's done. Insert any number of those things. And this is no fault to your parents. this was a different generation, and they were raising you literally based on what they were exposed to, because they love you and they just want the best for you, you know? And so as you got older, maybe it sounded like this. Um, you know, I don't know, come home at this time of night, or I don't trust you, or we're not going to have a conversation about this. Or, you know, you're a little bit older and it's like, go to school, get a degree, get married, have some children, invest in your RRSPs, do what I did because it's worked for me and I love you so much and I know that it's going to work for you. We never really stop to ask ourselves, you know, how do I feel about this? You know, what's really going on? What do I really want? Whose life am I living? Mine or my parents? And then you get older and then you start questioning, right? So who can relate? So if you think back, we've created this wobbly foundation based on this like level of sort of insecurity because we keep outsourcing our decisions. So we've created this false sense of safety, which ultimately creates a low level of self-trust. So this outsourced leadership ends up creating a dissonance between who we are and what we're doing. You know, somebody else is making our decisions. Essentially, this is codependency because we have this hierarchy with this external relationship with people, places, or things. They're essentially telling us what to do, knowingly or unknowingly, right? And so the result you get with this is you end up having this unregulated nervous system. We don't know what trust feels like because we were never taught what inner trust feels like. So we have fears of intimacy, fears of success, fears of failure. We struggle with our emotions. We stay safe and we play small because we're living on predictable patterns and habits. At least if I do this, I know that's going to happen, whether I like it or not. So we keep ourselves safe by seeking external help to regulate our inner system, or at least we think we are. But what ends up happening is we end up having a higher level of anxiety, more stress, more addiction, more codependency, more attachment issues, physical, mental, emotional health issues, exhaustion, burnout, confusion, overwhelm, lack of confidence, control issues. The crazy part is 97% of how we operate is through our subconscious. So we don't even know we're doing this because this is based on patterns and thoughts, beliefs that we've essentially inherited. So how do we fix this? Just breathe this in, let this land. How do we fix this? My mission is to free you from these outdated thoughts and beliefs that are keeping you stuck. To help you create a new foundation that serves your inner alignment first, that fills up your cup first through the power of intention. So, what do? We have to have the courage to pause, to just stop, and to change course. And when we pause, we have a choice to listen. We listen to ourselves, we listen to others. And when you listen, you have the opportunity to get curious and ask questions. Why? How? What? And then you have the moment. Do you react unconsciously or do you respond consciously? That's your change point. You respond by loving yourself first, every single time. And what this does, this allows you to now make your decisions not based on what somebody else has decided, which they think is best for you or which they think is best for them, and they're bringing that to you because they're never going to meet your expectations. They have no idea what's going on in your heart. That's between you and God, source, divine. When you know your worth, because God knows your worth, you receive your worth every time. Living in your purpose is going to help you get more and faster wealth received in all areas of your life, guaranteed. The way that I like to describe wealth is spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, career, financial, and the relationship that you have with yourself and your external world. So I'm going to share with you a case study. A dear client and friend of mine, Vanessa, she, to put this into some perspective, okay, so she initially came to me and she was around my age. She'd been married like 15 years, had a couple of kids. She was in the same job, but everything was just flat. She was sad. She was meh. She was unhappy. She was also overwhelmed and confused and just snappy and just like, is this literally the life that I signed up for? I want something different. And she didn't know how to change. And so what we did was we started at the very beginning. We looked at her core values. We looked at her goals, how she spoke to herself, how she took care of herself, how she managed her time. And we rebuilt her foundation based on inner trust and inner truth by prioritizing her mind, body, soul wellness through a reflection of harmony. And what ended up happening pretty quickly, actually, was her confidence skyrocketed. She became calmer and more relaxed. Her marriage got better than ever. I mean, she was close to divorce and they were more in love than ever. She loved her job again. She didn't want to quit. She was performing better at work. She was more engaged. She was a calmer, more present parent, and it was all because she trusted her self leadership. And it was the exact same environment. Nothing changed. She was just looking at life completely differently. This is the deep energetic recalibration that we're going to do here today. This is what I call your 0 point. We'll get into this in a bit more, but this is your 0 point. This is your sacred point. I want you to feel it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to weave in communication specifically around relationships, because this is kind of the next level we're going to stack. So first we've got the relationship with ourselves, and then we're going to have our relationship with the outside world. So understanding how energy works is going to substantially increase harmony in all areas of your life. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret here. This is your cheat code to manifesting exactly what you want. So energy, this is our 3-minute physics class. Energy controls systems, okay? There's energy in everything. And in order to change the way a system operates, you're going to either add energy, which is going to create heat into that system, or you're going to remove energy, which is going to cool the system down, okay? So what does physics have to do with relationships? Essentially, energy is the capacity to do work. When you know how energy works, you have the ability to change the way a system operates based on your level of self-trust. And that's why we started with that. So the law of vibration states, like attracts like. So if you're here and you want to be in a higher frequency, so maybe you want to move from meh or neutrality to happiness, laughter, joy, pleasure, you want to be in that frequency, because what ends up happening, like attracts like. So everything that doesn't align is going to go away, and everything that is in alignment is going to just naturally connect to you. This is called sympathetic resonance, okay? This is literally the transfer of energy between two or more systems. Think about two tuning forks. You strike a tuning fork, and the other tuning fork will ultimately sync up. Same thing with a guitar string, right? You strike the wrong tones or the wrong notes, they're not going to sync up. But if you've got two guitars and you strike an A on one, the other guitar will string. This is sympathetic resonance. This is the law of frequency, like attracts like. And remember, to change the way a system operates, you're going to move into the system to create heat, and you're also going to exit the system to cool it down. So I want to pause and ask you a question here. Feel free to drop it in the chats or just keep it with yourself. How do you feel knowing that you have the capacity to change your reality right now simply by changing the way the system operates because you know how energy works. Possible? Impossible? Still not sure. So now that we understand energy, we're going to stack another layer onto this. We're going to now bring in masculine and feminine energy into the conversation. So what is masculine and feminine energy? So there's 12 universal laws, okay? The law of gender states that there is a masculine and a feminine energy in everything, regardless of gender. And both are of equal and important independent strengths. Now, historically, society has operated in a very masculine hustle and do culture. There's really been no space for the feminine just to be. And what this does is this puts us out of alignment, back into that codependent, hierarchical, disempowering, outsourcing our leadership, and ultimately outsourcing our joy because we're dysregulated. So to change the way your inner system operates and bring more harmony and balance, you're going to start creating this and welcoming healthy interdependence. You're going to start bringing in more of this balance and harmony, and it's going to feel more empowering. And your internal navigation and guidance system is going to start speaking louder and louder to you, and you're going to start trusting it more and more. And so you're going to do this, like I said before, you just have to have the courage to be honest, to say, I'm going to start trusting myself. Do I step forward into an experience that is scary, or do I walk away from something that just doesn't feel good anymore? Even if we're afraid, even if we're scared, even if we're uncomfortable, vulnerable, or it's something that we don't know, because just like trust, masculine and feminine energy are deeply rooted in the subconscious. These are primal, okay? Both have an independent purpose and both pursue it relentlessly. And both will not thrive without the other. Survive, yes. We're done surviving. Humans share the same goal: to advance civilization. Your greatest potential is met when you bring balance to your inner masculine and your inner feminine energy through harmony. And this is a lifelong journey. Our goal is really to have this connection with God, source, divine, something bigger than you, something that is true. Bring that in through your feminine into your heart. Let your heart lead and ground it into action by masculine action in balanced and harmony. This is what I call your 0 point. This is your instant manifestation point. And we all have access to it at any point. And that's powerful. So I'm going to give you some examples of imbalanced energies and balanced energies. And a lot of these you're going to know, but I'm going to show them to you anyway so you have access to this. So when you're in this state of imbalance or lack of harmony, you're going to feel more stress, more anxiety, more exhaustion. You're going to have poor, weaker boundaries. You're going to have unhealthy attachments, dependencies. You're going to experience lack of trust, limited joy, and limited pleasure. Now, when you start bringing in more harmony to your inner system, these previous issues are going to start to slowly and eventually go away completely. You're going to replace it with more self-confidence. What's going to happen is you're then going to find that you're going to receive your goals easier and faster because you have healthier boundaries and a healthier, solid container to filter out which doesn't serve you. And that's going to result in an increase in communication, better in communication, crisper, sharper, laser focused. And you're going to experience more effective collaboration. Ultimately, you're going to experience less pain and more pleasure. So I want you to imagine for a moment day without night, summer without winter, fear without love, action without emotion. We have another universal law here on duality. And duality in life exists because we have these polarities. So masculine and feminine is polarity. Feminine is your receiving. Okay. This is your emotions. This is your intuition, your nurturing, sharing, caring, sensual, collaborative, creative, community. And your masculine is giving. This is logic, protection, stability, strength, action, verbal expression, systems. So feminine receives, masculine gives. So when we think about communication, I've got this slide up here that shows you some examples between healthy and unhealthy communications. And this is when you are in both your masculine and your feminine, because we are made up of both energies. So this isn't just like a man and a woman. This is your inner masculine and your inner feminine. And I want you to look at this slide deck through a lens of how you talk to yourself, first and foremost. And then how you interact with certain people and certain experiences in your life, because each of these, you're going to have more or less of one on the other. And this is your little cheat code of areas of life that if you want some help to work on, that would be a great place to start. Healthy foundation starts when you have the ability to trust in yourself and others. Okay. These create foundational impacts on relationships and communications. And it starts when you have the desire and the courage to say, I'm ready to change. So, some examples of healthy communication, literally, it could just be not interrupting somebody, actively listening, not scrolling on your phone while somebody's talking, waiting to say the next thing while somebody's still talking, as opposed to actually just deeply receiving it, or trusting that somebody can do something and you don't have to go after them and follow up or control and tell them what to do. So, question for you, I just want you to think through some of the relationships that you have with in your life. You know, how you talk to yourself, your children, your partner, your parents, your neighbors, your work colleagues. Just kind of, okay, that's how I am. That's how I am. Feel free to drop it in the comments or just sit with it. So now that we know how masculine and feminine communicate, now I'm going to teach you how to do this effectively to increase the harmony here and in your relationships. Okay. So your feminine energy concretely, intuitively knows what she wants. Think about it like, when your kid's telling you that they didn't eat the cookie, you knew they ate the cookie, right? You know intuitively. What you want is more resources to collaborate with, but the right resources that aren't going to suck your time and your energy, that are going to expand and accelerate you. And this is based on the right connections, because the right connections allow you to be held so you can receive divine guidance and be in creative flow more. And this results in innovative expansion. Now, your masculine energy, he's just devoted to the feminine. Think happy wife, happy life. Now, remember, this is in yourself, okay? And so, how do you make it happen? You take action. So, the feminine just wants to receive. So, what does the masculine do? I got to take care of my wife. I'm not going to let anything come in that's not in alignment with her higher vibrational frequency. Okay. So, again, this is why we start with trust. So, remember, as we're doing this, we are going to be releasing old patriarchal, hierarchical forms of communication, of relationships. Okay. Your foundation, as you do this, is going to now start to be built on a healthy, trusted foundation, because you are respecting and honoring that the feminine is important. So you're giving your feminine energy space to breathe and to be and to receive your intuitive guidance, which your masculine now will execute. And what does this mean? Stronger, healthier, happier, wealthy relationships. First and foremost with yourself and literally everybody that connects into your world. Now, what might happen and what most likely will happen is those relationships that are on the same trajectory as you and are still looking to grow and expand, they're going to grow with you. But what you'll also find is a lot of relationships will fall away because you've created a split, and for whatever reason, they their soul has chosen to not follow this path this year, this lifetime. Maybe they need to keep learning, and so you pull away, and so some relationships might end. And so I want you to know that. But remember, your greatest potential as a human is met when you bring balance to your inner masculine and your inner feminine through harmony. Okay. So I want to check in with you. I want to see how this is landing. If you're getting all of this, if you have any questions, again, feel free to drop it in the comments, or just sit with yourself. So far, we have talked about what self-trust does with your level of success. We've talked about why energy impacts every relationship that you experience, people, places, things. We've talked about how to reestablish balance by bringing in this new framework of masculine and feminine energy in harmony. Now, knowing all this, let's create sustainable and lasting change, okay? So we're going to do this through the power of living with intention. Because ladies go first, energetically and respectively, we're going to start with the feminine. So the next few slides, I'm going to literally just give you some how-tos. And then we're going to summarize all of this. So the very first thing I'm going to invite you to do is to honorably connect with your feminine energy. So whether you're a man or a woman, I'm going to invite you to create a sacred space. Okay, so this could look like nurturing rituals, women's circles, men's groups, hunting, fishing, going on a walk by yourself or with some friends. Carving out a sacred space in your home that is just for your feminine to connect. Okay, it might be your bedroom, it might be a little corner in like your office, whatever feels good for you. Decorate it, put some crystals in, whatever works for you, right? And you'll also probably want to change this up as you grow and evolve. The goal with this is you're going to connect with no judgment and no distraction. You're going to then welcome curiosity, okay? So you're going to cultivate a sacred space, and then you're going to welcome curiosity. So when you're communicating, the easiest way to change and be more curious is to pivot from a statement to a question. That is going to help you let go of control, as opposed to do this now. Why do you want to do this now? It literally puts a stick in the wheel and stops everything, you and everybody around you. So then you all get to stop and get uncomfortable and go back to the very piece that I had first started about, which was courage, listen, respond, lead with love. And so the final piece is, when you bring in this curiosity, you're going to feel some things. And so you want to get some of this stuff out of you. Okay. So remember, the feminine energy receives. Okay. So you're going to move the energy in your body. You're going to feel it. You can go for a walk, you can shake, you can do breath work, you can sing, you can dance, you can go to the gym and, pump some iron, you can go for a run or a bike ride, whatever works for you. And I'll give you a little kind of secret here is if you want to just like, say you had a conversation with somebody and their vibe was off and you kind of feel it and you're still with it, you're going to do a fast movement to just get it off. It's almost like it's on the surface. So it hasn't had a chance to kind of penetrate in. So you're going to do more of a fast masculine action. But on the flip side, if this is something that you've held for a long time, or maybe it's from your childhood or an ancestral thing, it might be really deep and gunky, and you might not know what it is or how to name it, but you're just carrying it. That's feminine. That's going to help you go deep. And so what you do with that is you do more of a slower movement because you want to get into like the nooks and crannies. Okay. So there's your two cheats with the leveraging the movement. And then the final thing is, as you're doing this, you're practicing self-love, okay? Your feminine energy receives. So even if you're a natural giver or a people pleaser, it is absolutely important that you fill up your own cup first. Do something nice for yourself. Take yourself on a date. Love and nourish yourself just as you are. No criticism, okay? And then the final thing to connect with your feminine is explore creativity. One of the things I still remember doing when I started my spiritual journey, gosh, over 10 years ago, I literally had to put a timer on the table to sit down and connect with my kids to color. I loved coloring as a kid, loved it. But I literally couldn't do it for more than 30 seconds without looking at my phone or responding to an email. Now I'm like chasing after the house. Hey kids, let's go color, right? So think about what you loved to do as a kid. Was it singing? Was it dancing? Was it music? Was it art? Was it writing? Was it sports? Was it imagination? That's the creativity that I want you to check back into. That's your childlike wonder, your pure, pure enjoyment that we have forgotten by layers and layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of society. Okay, so we're going to bring that to life because that's who you are. That is your authentic incredibleness. So the second thing we're going to do when we connect with our feminine, now we're going to make peace with both of these energies. We're going to surrender to the imperfections. We're going to make peace with our past, with our present, and our future, of both the masculine and the feminine. You know, so we all have this. We've all experienced this. The unhealthy masculine is controlling, abusive, avoidant, aggressive, competitive. It's keeping you small. It's keeping you not seen, safe, protected, underappreciated, closed off. Just essentially undervaluing the feminine energy for whatever reason. I don't value you, or I'm not strong enough to hold all your amazingness, so I'm going to keep you quiet. And then our unhealthy feminine is manipulative, emotional, codependent, insecure, inauthentic, victimy, essentially disrespecting the masculine and resenting him and his energy. Stop muting me. I'm important. I have something to say. So I'm going to still screw you. I don't want to talk to you. I'm out, right? Versus, no, you're important and I trust you. And I'm going to celebrate you growing up into a stronger version of a masculine that can hold me so that I can be seen and shine more. And it's this beautiful dance. Like we're all growing up from wounded little children to teenagers to young adults to adults. Okay, well, my computer was going to run out of power, so I had to go and plug it in. Essentially, it's a marriage. It's an inner marriage. It's an inner union. And we have to have the love, the honor, respect, and trust to allow each of our inner masculine and inner feminine energies to shine in their important strengths. What this is going to happen is this is going to help us to stop doing so much, to let go of control. Remember what we said about how to change a system. You move in by creating heat and you exit by releasing energy, and it becomes colder. So when we let go of control, we've created space for somebody else to come in, to put their heat into an area. And now we've surrendered because we don't have to do that anymore, because we trust the other person to lead. So the final thing we're going to do is we're going to, we've reconnected with our feminine. We've surrendered with our imperfections. Now we're going to slow down. We are inundated with distractions daily. Cell phones, emails, social media, phone calls, people calling in, people dropping in, urgency, like it's everywhere, okay? And so practicing mindfulness, it's not a nice to have, it is a must have. And this is going to help you slow down. We live in this busy world. It's a lot of noise. How you spend your time is how you spend your life. Mindfulness helps you stay healthy. It supports health, self-regulation, And it also, going back to what we had said, because when your cup is filled, you have more empowerment to change the way your system operates. So you're going to be less likely to react and more likely to respond, which is shifting the trajectory. Mindfulness is simply being present and open-minded in the moment. And you can take it one step further. Whatever you can't do, hand it over to God. This has become hands down my favorite medicine. He has become beyond a trusted confidant, a trusted guidance. Anytime I need to talk, I go to him. I don't want to like vent and dump on the people in my inner circle because that's not fair to them. I hand it over and then I come back in a more intentional space. So I'm going to give you a little story as an example to kind of pull this together. We all know the story about the tortoise and the hare, or I would think you do, and if not, I'll summarize it. So you've got a bunny and you got a turtle, and they're all racing to cross the finish line. And the bunny just runs and runs and runs. And then he's so exhausted just before the end of the finish line, he crashes and takes a nap. He's like, I got plenty of time. I'll wake up before the end. And then the little turtle, well, he's just going, doo, 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 doo. Stops and smells the roses, says hi to his friend, has a chat with the butterfly, looks at the pretty sunset. Ooh, look, a rainbow. Enjoying the journey along the way. Enjoying the journey along the way. Who wins the race? This is your journey of life. It's to enjoy it. It's not to run and hustle and work till you're 65 and then slow down and crash to enjoy the last few years you have in retirement. Lots of people I know don't even make it that far. And why work your entire life, 80% of your life, to enjoy 20%? Why not enjoy it all? So remember to embody leadership harmony. You're going to have the courage to pause. You're going to trust yourself to release those external dependencies and attachments that are going to help you change your internal management system, which is going to reflect a higher frequency, a higher joy and pleasure in all parts of your life. Living with intention will help you easily prioritize this. As above, so below, in masculine and feminine harmony, and manifest the wealthy life that you desire right now. More joy, more pleasure, the right relationships, and a richer life in all areas. You know, in a perfect world, ease would be our baseline. But we're human. We have fears, we have wounds, we have resistances, and yet we still get to choose how to experience life. What you focus on grows. So let this be your gentle reminder. Prioritize your energy. Direct your focus, not towards doing more, but towards doing less by being rooted in your truth. And if you're ready to walk this path with support, I've created some sacred spaces just for that. We have free spaces, we have group mentorship, and we have private containers. Each one of these are designed to honor your rhythm and amplify your voice. I'll leave details below in the video. If you feel the pull to go deeper, you'll know if it's time, and I'm here to connect. I love you. You don't need more steps. You need more stillness. Let this rhythm become your baseline. Let your nervous system trust it. And from this space, everything you build will feel true. So you have just learned 3 ways to prioritize your harmony. Reconnect with your feminine, make peace with your energies, and practice mindfulness. This intentional framework will accelerate success right now. Because prioritizing your wants, your needs, your nice to haves in that order is going to fill up your cup. And it's going to leave you in a space less likely to waver, laser focus, intention, living with intention. So on the slide here, you can see I've shared some daily activities that you can do right now to support this new framework. All of these are free. And I'll go through them in a second. But as we do this, I want to just suggest this for you, okay? I want you to pick one goal that you can do right now in action form in support of your next level of alignment. You can do 2 or 3, but sometimes I find if we say we're going to do too much, we just don't end up doing it all. So let's start with 1. Do 1 for a week and go from there. Write down your actions in advance. This is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm accountable for. But do that through the intention of less planning and more action. It doesn't have to be perfect. Messy is fine. It's progress, not perfection. And super important every time you do this, celebrate. Positive reinforcement is so much more powerful than negative. It's something like 1 to 100 trumps it every time. Just remind yourself. And if you have to send yourself a little love note, that's cool too. The result is you're going to receive massive, sustainable, palatable changes in your life. You do this, and I guarantee you will create more wealth. So these daily actions, we've got self-check-in. So this could literally be, at the very beginning, I actually had to schedule time in my phone to do this. You could at some point when you get going with this, and this is part of your daily experience, you could just intuitively know I need to pause and I need to check in. But if you want to schedule check-ins at like 9 after you take the kids to school, 11:30 just before lunch, maybe 1 o'clock just after, maybe 4:30 before the end of the day, maybe 7:30 or 8 for the night winds down. How are you doing? How am I feeling? Do I'm feeling in alignment? What's working? What isn't? The next thing you can do is to keep your space clean. So we've all heard of spring cleaning, it's the same thing. Decluttering the physical noise around you is going to reflect your inner, and it's going to help you declutter the inner. So keeping your space energetically clean. And this could also go with the type of relationships and how you talk to yourself. And we can keep going layer upon layer. Having focused action. What are your goals? Do you have goals? Do you have a 1 month, a 3 month, a 6 month, a 1 year, a 5-year plan? Or are you just like, whatever happens, happens? Or I've been doing the same thing forever and I don't know any different. There's no right or wrong. I'm just inviting you to ask and get curious and see what wants to change. The next thing is scheduling intentional breaks. So comparable to the self-check-in, scheduling intentional breaks, which I like to call business meetings. And this is where I bring my feminine in. She's important. And I make sure to nurture. So this could be getting up and having a nice big glass of water, turning the phone off for 5 or 10 minutes, going for a walk outside, talking with a girlfriend or calling your parents, or something that is just going to help rebalance what you're doing, because you want to kind of stay like this versus like this, right? So in continuation with that, getting outside, okay? So Mother Nature is very healing. She's called Mother for a reason. When was the last time you hugged a tree or took your shoes off and put your feet on sand or the grass or rocks? There's so much power in that. Visualizing your success. Studies have proven athletes do this. CEOs do this. People, it's like the top 1% of the 1%. They visualize so that when they're in that, there's no difference between where they want to get and where they are, because they have been visualizing it so much. So maybe you want to play around with visualizing your success. And finally, to anchor this, the most powerful medicine in the world is gratitude. is of the highest frequency. Actually, appreciation is higher. When you show appreciation, it's not, I'll give you an example. Somebody gives you a gift and you say thank you. Then you feel like you have to do something in return. That's not appreciation. That's an attachment. But if somebody gives you a gift or gives you a compliment and you just say thank you, that's appreciation. Or if you just give a compliment without wanting anything in return, there's no attachment, that's appreciation. And gratitude is it's a far overlooked medicine. Everybody has something to be grateful for. Even if it's running water, or the sun is shining today, or it's raining today, you can find something to be grateful for. And I used to do this at the very beginning, and I still do it to this day. What are 3 things that I'm grateful for? And I ask my kids this all the time. And especially if somebody's in a crummy mood, you watch, it'll shift. So here are some daily actions that you can take today that will help you pause and change that inner imbalance and bring some more harmony and balance to your inner system, which is going to help you feel good, which is going to reflect externally as well. So I have some homework for you. Super easy. Again, you can share in the chats. You can keep this with yourself. My invitation for you is I'm going to invite you to bring in 1 masculine action and 1 feminine action to your world for the next 7 days. That's why I said start with 1, because if you do 2 or 3, that's great, but life gets busy. So we'll start with 1 and then we'll revisit in 7 days, and then you can keep doing it or you can layer on top of it. And so remember, masculine is action and feminine is receiving. So a masculine giving to the feminine, if you're like in a business model, it could be, I'm going to make those phone calls, even though cold calls, scare me. That action is going to allow me to connect with somebody that could potentially allow my feminine to receive the wealth that she deserves. And a feminine receiving could be, I want to take a bath, or I want to rub my partner's feet, or I want to have a deep conversation, or I want to just have some quiet time with myself. What do you want to receive to fill up your cup and your bucket? Remember, think back to what you were a kid. What did you love doing? Maybe it's something creative. Okay. So your homework for the next 7 days is 1 masculine action and giving action, and then 1 feminine receiving action. Okay. So I've got another case study for you to kind of tie all this together. Yoda, a very dear client and friend of mine, we initially met, and he was looking to bring some balance and harmony to his inner self, his masculine and feminine. And so we did that, and it was amazing. And then during the course of us working together, he worked for a very large meditation organization in Indonesia, and they were going through a merger and acquisition, and they were consolidating their 5 locations down to 3. And so he was put in charge of managing this whole consolidation. Okay. So he was the director of marketing at the time. And he wanted to bring a higher level of leadership into his global meditation company because he had such powerful transformations inside from, working with me with the masculine and the feminine. So he brought me on as a consultant, and we reviewed his business systems. We reviewed his processes, his communications. We spoke, he spoke to the employees, he spoke to management, the whole thing. And what we did was he ended up restructuring his business to prioritize more importance to the feminine energy and less to the masculine, so that there was more of an equalization. Okay. And the really cool thing was the result of this was his merger and acquisition happened in half the amount of time. Okay. And it was more successful, more emotionally and financially successful. He was promoted from director of marketing to chief marketing officer, as well as a result of these successes. All the employees in the organization's mental health and wellness skyrocketed. They all received a higher level of time management, and expectations were established and grounded. The compounding impacts were far outreaching the benefits of what he had created personally and professionally with the individuals and with the company in general. And literally all it was he had the courage to pause, to get curious, and to say, what do I want to do that's different? And then he acted upon that. He faced the fear, he acted upon that, and he changed the way a business system operated. Like, I love this. Like, it's so simple. You just have to do it, right? So remember, when you're learning this new framework of intentional leadership harmony, I want you to remember to master your mindset. Release outdated ways of doing and thinking. Don't work so hard on the wrong things, the people pleasing, right? Prioritize your mental health and wellness. This is going to help you learn how to balance your masculine and your feminine energy. So most people get stuck here unconsciously. Remember, 97% of how we operate is unconscious. So if you find yourself looping and tripping up on old patterns and habits, first of all, it's okay, you're human. Second of all, you've got the tools to change that. Come back to this masterclass anytime you want or reach out for help. What you're going to experience is poor work-life balance. You're going to experience, negative self-talk, lack of trust, control issues, not hitting your personal or your professional goals with ease. You might find that you're still hustling. You're still seeking the external validation and direction. And remember, we keep repeating the same patterns and habits like a tornado, right? But we're going to go to the next level. So if you've done the work, that's amazing. You might release a piece of trust, and then you're going to be faced with your next level of self-trust. You might have released control, and now you're faced with your next level of deepening that release. So we're human. Remember, it's an evolution of growth. And when you live with intention, you're focused on your evolutionary growth versus unconsciously looping in the same patterns and habits. So maybe you're not where you want to be. It's okay. Maybe you're not hitting your goals. Maybe you're not doing it in the desired time or the energy or the way that you want to do it. Intentional leadership harmony is absolutely going to help you decrease your stress, be more relaxed and joyful, experience more pleasure, more presence, inner calm, increased confidence, and a richer life. You need to think to yourself, how is living with intention going to increase my life's wealth right now? So if you're ready to make real, lasting, impactful changes, then understanding energy, especially your relationship between the inner masculine and the inner feminine, is vital to your evolutionary growth and expansion. You are a powerful manifester. And when you surrender to trusting yourself, to lead in alignment with your intuitive truth, and to act from a place of integrity, you're going to gain the confidence to release what no longer belongs to you. Old attachments, outdated roles, limiting beliefs. And from there, you're going to welcome more joy, more receiving, more wealth. This framework supports you first. It's here to help you fulfill your greatest potential. Because when you change, everything around you changes. So I want to celebrate you. I want to thank you for taking the time to join me here today. I want to celebrate you for trusting yourself, for being the change that you want to see right now, that our world needs right now. And I want to invite you to name that change. So what's one word that you want to, keep with you, that you want to take from our time here together today? You can drop it in the comments. You can whisper it out loud. You can write it down. Let this be your anchor. Let this be your next beginning. It has been my pleasure to connect with you today. And I want to thank you. I love you. Have an amazing day. And I will see you where I will see you.